Well, here's the core transmission. I pulled a 727 out of a 1983 or 4, I can't quite remember. What would it be, B350? D350 actually, sorry. Came with a 362. I am pretty sure, not 100% sure, pretty sure this has been rebuilt recently. Within the last like 10 years. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm gonna show you why I have this theory. The first thing is, it's got this gasket in it. I don't know why they didn't like trim it down at all. So that makes me question the rebuild, but it does have a gasket. And also, I don't know if you noticed this is black paint. So someone took time to paint this, re-gasket for sure. And then on the inside's really, really clean. Now, there was a little deposit on it, and the filter has a little buildup of sludge or something. You can see that. But it's very, very clean. And it makes me think that this thing has been gone through. And on top of all that, it has a brand new converter in it, which I don't know what it is yet, but you know, I'm thinking it's something truckish towing related. Brand new converter. And here's the pan. It's got some sludge down here, but it's clean. And the pan has, or had, a trans temp gauge going to it. So they were even checking out the temperature in the truck. Now that's all just from the transmission itself. The vehicle I pulled out of made me think it drove into the pick and pull. See, it was a very clean, it was a dented up, but it was a very clean truck. And it looks like someone may have died or something, and they just drove it there to get rid of it. Now, it had a 360 in it, which I torn apart a little bit, very clean inside. It has a 4-barrel Edelbrock 1406 carburetor. I threw that on the wagon, and it ran great on that. I barely had to tune it. It was perfect. So I think that this transmission moved this truck to that pick and pull where I pulled it out. So I do not recommend doing this, but the idea here is I'm going to put some new gaskets in it, just because I'm just to be safe, it doesn't leak. I know how to do things right. This thing I did right. I went through every part of it. Now this other one, I should do that too. I don't recommend doing this. Taking a core from the junkyard and throwing it in, there's a good chance I'll throw this in, it won't even go into gear. But I'm taking an educated guess, and I'm gambling a little bit, and I may lose. But right now I don't have the time to go through this transmission. I would like my wagon back, and so I'm gonna send it, as they say. I just want to start off by saying I am not a transmission expert. I've rebuilt one manual transmission, and I've rebuilt one automatic transmission. Never even tested the automatic. Don't know if it even works. I am mechanically inclined, and I'm trying to make stupid YouTube videos. So do your own due diligence. Now, from my own research and from my own experiences, here is what I recommend for at least any 727 or 904 torque flight, and just to help keep it from wearing and make the life better, especially if you're doing any hard use of it, towing, shenanigans, anything like that. And I've been doing this all for the wagon as cheaply as possible. How cheap, you may be wondering? Well, $336 cheap. So I picked up the core transmission from Pick and Pull with the torque converter and all that for $180. I have a deep pan, which I'll show you here in a second, the filter extender for the deep pan, and the shift kit
for 80 bucks, 50 for the deep pan, 20 for the extender, and then $6 for seals. So not bad. Now, when you go on Google and type in 727 deep pan, you're gonna be like, whoa, those are pretty pricey. That's why I got the $50 pan. Now, the $50 pan it's just stamped steel. Even has a drain plug, which if you have looked under any of your classic era Mopars, you notice they don't. It is a later pan off of like a 90s Dodge pickup with the later variant of a 727 with overdrive. So $50, it's a Dorman part. I'll have a link in the description. I got off Amazon, shipped to my door, 50 bucks. Boom, there's the part number. I mean, cheap, effective. And then whenever you do a deep pan with one of these transmissions, get the extender, 20 bucks. Amazon, shipped to my door. That brings the filter down, the pickup down, and this allows, it's better in case it gets low. You don't want to be, just do it. Just do it. And now the main thing, the thing I paid 80 bucks for, the Transgo performance shift kit. This is the TF2. I think that means torque flight 2, if I would have to guess. Now, the TF2 I like about it is it's very variable. There's a lot of variables to it. You can make it fit your need. Now, I'm just doing more down here, the short firm shifts with performance in mind, durability in class. I am really just for towing. I want to save the clutches and all that, so just nice firm shifts. But you're able to modify it all the way to the brutal shifts, and then you're even able with this to have gear command, which basically makes it so you have to, say you have you take off in first and you want put it in the second, it'll shift to second. You put it in the third, it shifts to third, and then if you want to go back down to second, you got to put it back in second. What a normal torque flight is, if you have it in first, it'll be in first. You put it in second, it will go first to second, up and down for what you're doing, and then you go in third, it'll go third, second, first, whatever you need for when you're driving, conditions. I don't recommend that unless you were doing a real race car. But besides the point. So I will show you what I'm doing with this for my needs, and roughly show you what I'm drilling and all that, and go through instructions with you. As you're going to see, you need very neat, clean work surface. This is a sit down and do it all at once. Be focused. Don't, this is, valve bodies still kind of scare me. They are really a marvel of engineering, in my opinion. I mean, early automatics are a marvel of engineering, in my opinion. Not needing any just pressure, allowing it to shift up and down. Besides the point, I'm rambling. So yeah, I will be showing you how to install this then. Won't this be fun? It always is. All right, now we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna take the valve body out itself. So the valve body is just held in with these bolts. It is 7/16, if I remember correctly. Yep, 7/16. And then you also have to take off the linkage where the shift shaft is. That is just a couple half-inch, I think, nuts. One of those sizes, half-inch, 9/16, 7/16. One of those for both of them, and they slide right off. I know we're about a little bit of a weird angle here, but this is the top of the 727. Up here is where it bolts to the motor. This right here is the shift shaft. They will be these two brackets, and they just slide on here,
You unbolt them, pull them out. This will come out with the valve body. Just a side note, that will come out. You may have to pull and tug a little bit, but that's what's gonna be hanging up on. Let's try to get this valve body out. Now, the valve body is the brain of the transmission. It does all the crazy stuff. You know, everything else, I feel like out of everything else, I understand the valve body at least. Because on these older transmissions, it's all fluid pressure related. And I don't know, some smart men drinking some big cups of coffee, wearing some nice ties and white shirts. They did some math, and I don't do math that well, so I'd just be amazed at they came out with this, and you know, made it reliable and made it strong. All right, so there's just this 10 7/16 bolts. Once you remove them, the only thing that's gonna be kind of hanging you up, there is the parking rod back there. So I already got half pulled out here, but let me see. Boom. So yeah, it just kind of falls out. So putting it in is the only thing, the hard part about putting it back in is this parking rod. You can imagine it's like a gear in there, and this goes in, dexes in, and you know, puts the car in park. So, you know, you may have to mess with it for a little bit, but it will go. Sometimes it's a little bit frustrating, but it will go. Boom. So yeah, those 10 7/16 bolts, make sure those two shift linkage things are off, and it pulls right out. Super easy. And the scary part is cracking it open. All right, now I'm gonna separate the valve body. Gotta get to the plate in between so we can start doing the shift kit. Fairly easy. Just a bunch of flathead screws. This is a tragedy. All right, new screwdriver. Here we go. You know, there is a chance, I mean, small, but there's a chance that this is already, I mean, I can see the screws have been, I was almost a little messed up there. There's a chance it already has a shift kit in it, but we're gonna have to find that out ourselves here. That took a lot of muscle and a pair of vice grips, but got them all out. So once this Phillips screws out, the top plate, or this would be the, yeah, top plate here. It's just gonna slide right out. Now, be careful. Ooh, not the camera, be careful. Because down here in the bottom part, there is a bunch of check balls, and you don't want to lose any of them. They're somewhat important. But there is the maze that is the inside of a valve body for the passages for the fluid to go under different pressures. I'm not seeing any modifications yet, but I'm gonna need to
I'm gonna look a little deeper here and take some stuff apart. All right, I'm gonna remove all the check balls here. We'll just note if we see anything different size for later. Right here I'm noting that one's large. So the rest of these, that's the same, those two are the same size. That appears to be, that's the same size. That's the same size. That's the same size. It's not metallic. Screwdriver here. Interesting, that one's not magnetic. There's a piece of debris I picked up. Alright. Okay, that is all of the check balls, ball bearings. Alright, I'm gonna fully take off this separator plate. It's just 4 more, that's 5 more Phillips screws, and the plate will be off. Once we get it off, see some sludge down there I want to clean out. But this has definitely been gone through. I've been looking for any signs of a previous shift kit, because there's a lot of ways to do shift kits. So my concern is putting a shift kit upon a shift kit and then just like, I don't know, nothing working. That's the main fear. But the beauty of it is I have a second valve body in the car. So if it does do that, I'll just take it back out and do it again to that one, because I know that one has not been messed with ever. I don't know if this one's been messed with either. I don't know. I haven't seen much evidence. The only thing is like there's some scratching down here, and it looks like a hole was drilled. But if that's it, I don't know. Maybe that's a small modification they did to valve bodies. Okay. Pull it off. Put it down. Nasty, not bad. The other one I did was way worse. Sweet. So this is the thing that we're gonna do a lot of things on probably. All right, so I did some investigation. I haven't found any modifications in the actual casting of the valve body, but this plate has been modified per specs actually of the TF2 kit. I currently think this went through a guy who knew what he was doing, hopefully, and I think he just drilled these out to try to make it slightly better for the truck. But I'm gonna go through and explain to you what he did. And yeah, so in the TF2 kit, we are going for up here, passenger car, towing, truck, motorhome, you know, that size. You have 3 drill bits. You don't really need that one right now, but the .86 and the .110. I have the 110 right here. So A, down here, A is 110 here to 140. And if it's a triangle, you don't drill. I, again, just for a passenger car wagon here, only want 110. So that is down here. That was drilled out to 110. Then we got B. B's up here. This one was also drilled out kind of crudely, but drilled up to 110. Okay. C down here. Again. That one's B and C are 86 thou to 125 thou. So 110 is in the middle for both this one, B and C. D is all the way up here. D is 110 to 140. Okay, if already bigger. So D would be this one, slightly bigger than 110. So yeah, so that was already done for me. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, now I'm going to go through the valve body, casing itself, and modify this, and then we can put it all back together. All right. Now we're on page 2 here. So we got to remove this system so we can get the manual valve out to put the new one in. And then we'll have to notch it with the file into the casting. And that'll be right there. We'll file it right there. And then yeah, we'll go over the rest of this as we do it. And that will be page 2 out of the way for the shift kit. So there's just a little C-clip there. We're going to want to be careful when you do this because there is a ball and spring for the detent rods. So you know when you see it there. Right, there's ball and spring in there, and you know that allows you to shift it from park to first, to reverse, neutral, drive, and all that. So just be careful, you don't want to lose that. Semi-important. C-clip out. Got the little C-clip out there. And a little washer. I'm gonna take my little pick and see if I can just get the tension off of it. We really don't want that, losing that. It's kind of a vital. I did it last time and lost it, and it really sucked. Okay. Take that off. There. Take that off. That's out like that. All right, there. Grab the spring. And where's that? Oop, don't drop that. Pick the ball up. And I'm gonna keep these together. Get some tape. Just because I think it's a special size. And we don't want to be losing that like I did last time. All right. Get some tape. Come on. Boom. Taped it up. Put it in there. All right. Okay. I'm gonna unscrew this plate because this is the. Actually, I don't need to unscrew that plate. Actually, I'm not gonna unscrew that plate. Never mind. Don't listen to me. Because this is the guy we wanted to take out. So here is the old one, and we'll get the new one. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. It's still kind of oily, and then we'll be back to file it. All right. So on page 2. It wants us to file about halfway through the valve body, basically in the center, so like about that, halfway through, and it's not precise. It's just you just gotta do it. So I try to get pretty centered. Like that. And then I'll just keep going here for a while, and we'll get halfway through it. All right. Filed it for a little while there, and that's about halfway through. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to thoroughly clean all the shavings out. As you can see down the bore there, it's all filled with aluminum shavings. And yeah, I'm very happy with that. There's the photo there still going off of. Should be good enough. All right, I very thoroughly cleaned it out. You want to get all of the aluminum dust out, just as much as you can. So I got it all out. Now it's time to put wants to put this back in place. Let's see here. How am I gonna do that? So that's gonna go there. Okay. So I'm just gonna do that. We are gonna need the chuck ball, and spring here. That off a little bit. Okay. So spring in. Ew. Plastic off there. Come on, get off my hand. So you get this peg. Basically the peg will hold the ball and the spring in place. You'll pop on the rooster comb and then pop it in and it'll pop out. And that just makes life a whole lot easier than dealing with yeah, this is gonna take a few tries. So, got it lined up there, the first one, and I'm just gonna pop it down in place. Boom. It is now in. Peg out, pegs out. Well, there was a Phillips screw, that one right down there. It was keeping me from getting this all the way up there. So I just unscrewed it, popped it up, fixed the problem. Anyway, back on the journey. Put the washer back in. Washer. And then the C-clip. Reach out over here. Oops, come on. Boom, C-clipped in. Back over. Now, it says on the sheet, so manual valve position. With the valve all the way inboard, in the park position, the right edge of the tapered land must be flush with the right edge of the partition A. So that would be right here. 30 thou from flush either way is okay. To adjust bund arm tip with pliers. So let me see here. Make sure it's in park. That should be park. No, that should be park. I'm thinking that. Shit. Yeah, that's flush. Beautiful. So that's page 2 done. All right. So just a reminder here, go through your instruction thoroughly when doing this, because this page is a good example. So you have a lot of different types, because they change these a lot, you know, they use them forever. There's some variations of these valve bodies. So, you know, like here, 77 and up V8 trans with lockup. This is a non-lockup unit, so we're gonna ignore that. 77 up a type valve body has 6 or 7 passages. Mine has 6 passages. If your valve body has a hill drill through it, that partition, and plug it. If your valve body has a hole drilled through this partition, plug it. Do I have a hole? I do not have a hole. Boom. Valve body has barrier here. This direction, drill. No barrier. Okay. Boom, look at that. So now on 4. Install drill plate on valve body this side up. Use 2 short end plate screws to hold drill plate. Use the spacer finish. Okay. Easy. We'll grab the plate and we'll show you how to do that. All right. Plate's on. I just used 2 screws, Phillips screws for this area over here. bolted that down. So that was super easy. And then what you take is the biggest drill bit they gave you in the kit, which is the 3/16 one. It's the biggest one, and it's in the same package as this. And then they give you a spring. You're using that as a spacer, so you don't drill too far down. And they have it at 7/16 showing up. So it's about 7/16. Probably go a little bit. I'm gonna call it good. And then yeah, so let me just stick her in there, the spacer on, drill it, and then clean the valve body really good again for the second or third time. And that mod is done. So I'm gonna just do this off camera just so I can focus and do it right. But you know, it's very self-explanatory. All right, so I took this plate off. It was just two Phillips screws holding on still. And I pulled out from right here the TV valve is what they call it. And for me, I got to grind this down to about 9-30 seconds. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna reinstall it with a new spring, which will either be yellow. Find it. So it's gonna be either the yellow or pink one. So same diameter, so that's the pink one. There we go. So yellow one. So that guy's going in. With that. And yeah. So I'm gonna grind this down really quickly. Again, the sheet even tells you the diameter to grind it down to. So you can use that as a reference guide to how short you need to make this little stem. So that should be easy. And then I will put it back together. Nice. Time to throw it back in. And then on to the next step. All right, we're on to page 5, which is mostly about the PR setup. So the PR valve. Try to keep this nice. All right. So PR valve. We are going to remove this. We're going to remove the valve itself. Okay, so we will be replacing first, we'll be adding a shim. We got a new, what they call this spring seat. And then we have a new, slightly heavier duty spring, outer and inner spring. So, pretty simple. Let's get to it. All right, put our glove on. Touch the nasty stuff. And wipe this down quickly. Perfect. Here we go. So, take the old ones, put them aside. Interesting. So this already has a spacer and a seat. So I don't know if that was, I can't remember if that's stock like that, or maybe this one has been already slightly modified, but we got new ones. Boom, boom. in. So instructions say you want to make sure, oh, come on. You don't want the seat, this one with the flat edge. You don't want that catching on the casting at all. And if it does ride on the casting, it says to file the casting down. So it can't. And I have a little bit. Yeah, it's in there a little bit. Yeah, and it says, install spring seat as shown, make sure flat on, make sure flat on spring seat has some clearance from casting. File casting if necessary to give it a little room to rotate slightly. Do not allow to bind between PR valve and casting with an exclamation mark. So, I'm gonna take this back out. I will file that and be back shortly after I file this and try to make it work. All right, now it's all fitting good. I cleaned the valve body very, very thoroughly again. Trying to get as much of the dust out of it as possible. And I reinstalled it here, put the springs on. I want it to be known, as I got frustrated, and as soon as I turned the camera off, I did it like first try, no problem. So I want it to be known and stated that I really tried multiple times to do it on camera, and then anyway, this is now on. Now the instructions also say here the PR valve adjustment with a 13/16 Allen wrench. Turn PR adjustment screw clockwise until spring seat is flush against the inside edge of the spring retainer. And there's a photo of that. Just one more time. Flush. So that's just for heavy duty. For competition race cars, they say counterclockwise, no more than 4 turns from flush. But again, going in a big old wagon, so good enough for me. So the next page is for shift command, which allows you to grab any gear when you want. Not doing this, again, that's more for race car, but that is an option on the TF2 kit. All right, so we are on the final page here. So we are gonna plug an orifice and make it smaller to build line pressure. And then we are going to, I think I have the type 2, not for sure, but we're going to modify the one of the pistons here. And then we have some new adjustments for the bands. So we'll tie those up, and then we should be all done with the shift kit. So let's go on to that final portion. All right, so before we go on to the page 5, we need page 7, sorry. We have to finish up page 5 here, which this is just gonna be check balls and reassembling the valve body fully. So I'm gonna go over all the check ball locations and putting them back in. And then we are going to put the separator plate in, screw the other part of the valve body on after I double check everything, make sure it's all fully clean. And then the valve body will be done fully. And then we can go on to all the extra stuff in the transmission itself. And we'll be rocking and rolling. All right. Installing the check balls. So here we got lined up there. So big one goes there. Boom. I have a 77 and up, so that one goes there, there, there. This one is for firmest shifts, hot rod 1 and 2nd shifts. Do not install ball here. All there is install ball. Again, going in a big old wagon, so we won't put it there. We will put it there because I don't need hard shifts, that harder shifts. So yeah, let me start grabbing. Boom. 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 So the one, this one, the one that you don't have to install to get through the harder shifts, was a I don't know, it's non-magnetic, whatever it is. So I'm putting that back in there because whoever put this together probably knew what they were doing. So it was there. So boom. That is all the check balls in. So now I'm going to throw the separator plate on, the other half on, screw it all together, and install the valve body back into the transmission. So I got the separator plate on the other side, put the stiffener plate on. Threads were actually kind of messed up here. I had to take the washer off this one, which is probably not recommended, but I don't feel like fixing the upper threads at all. So we're just gonna run that. So this, all the check balls are in. Should be something like that. Okay, I see. So we got it in. Time to throw some screws in. I will come back once I get all these screws in and tie in, not too tight this time. Won't do what the last guy did, but yeah. So I'll be back in a second. All right. All the screws are tightened down and torqued. The one thing I want to note is on the stiffener plate, slash separator bracket here, there, I didn't note, there's 2 more screws there, and there's 1 more screw underneath this all. So don't forget those. So now I am ready to throw this back in the transmission. But before we do that, we have page 7, final page. All right, got the little orifice plug that goes there. I have a feeling I'm gonna hit it once, it's not gonna work well, and then I will cut to it being in, because all right, I'm gonna cut to this being in. installed.
So to get this out, you need this out of the way. And there is a little metal tab clip in there. And I've heard some people say they can get it out with this in place. I was not able to. I tried for probably 15-20 minutes and I gave up. So to do it properly, what I'm going to do now is you remove the 6 9/16 bolts for the tail shaft, 2 Phillips screws. There's a little thing, squeeze. Tail shaft will come right off. And there's a pin here that holds this arm on. We're just going to pull it up, knock it up, pull this out of the way, get access to this. I didn't want to do this because now I'm going to need either a new gasket or, I mean, who knows how this is going to go, but we'll see what happens. A little extra work, but we're doing it proper, so it'll be worth it. All right, I get you want things to be tight, okay? But that shouldn't require this to break it free by hand. With all the force I give it. Don't do the ugga-duggas, I beg of you. I already did it, but you just do that. And then that. And then you do that some more, and it'll come off. Side note, for me struggling for like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, you gotta take the speedometer gear out if you want to take the tail shaft off, or else it binds up and then you get mad. My loss to your gain. All right, now to get the spring out itself so we can finish the shift kit. Now to do this, I'm gonna have to not film, it's gonna be a 2-hand procedure. I'm gonna compress this as much as I can, and with a screwdriver, pop this little clip out. And it's gonna be under tension, so you're gonna have to press pretty hard. But once that's out, this should all pop out, and I'll be able to finish this off. All right, here it is all apart. Here's the top of it, all the way down. To disassemble it, there's just this little snap ring at the bottom of it. Take that out, and it all just pops apart. So there's a few different things you can do here. I have a 727 Type 2 one. That's that one right here. And the only thing, let's see here, I'll be adding a spacer, it looks like, and a long plain spring. So let me get that, and we'll start reassembly of this item. All right, so open the package. Here's a long plain spring. Give you a little nice spacer here, and I also thought it was kind of nice of them. They gave me a brand new C-clip to use. So I'm gonna put this back together, and then we're gonna throw it all back in, and we should be ready to put it all back together finally. One quick side note about doing the Type 2 one. With that spacer in there, it's gonna put pressure, so to get that C-clip in there, you're gonna have to put some force down on it. Beforehand, it just comes out really easy, but I just wanted to note that. Not that big of a deal, but something to take note of. All right. Got the assembly all put together. I put this in the vise just so I could easily do it. You don't need a vise, you get 2 people. One person press down, another one put the C-clip in. So now, it's probably gonna be harder to do this time. No, that won't be that bad. Let's see if I can get this on film. Here we go. Grab a screwdriver. Here we go.
Boom. Let's make sure. That looks like it's in fully. All right, now I'm gonna put the I'm gonna wipe down inside here a little bit, and then I can put this back, and then the valve body, and the pan. So for adjusting the bands, the manual, the TF2 manual says, so basically what you do is you loosen this nut, and I'm using a 5/16 little short wrench. With that nut loose there, you tighten this until it gets snuggish, and then you back it off depending on which band you have. I have a single wrap band. Single wrap, you back it off 2.5 turns, which I already did. If you have a double wrap, you back it off 3.5 turns, and then you just tighten up that little nut. Boom, you're done. And for the bottom band, same thing. You just tighten that down there. You loosen the nut on the outside. You tighten down the little thing till it's snug. Then you do 2 turns out for that. Tighten the nut down, and then yeah. All right. Time to put the valve body in. See how bad it's gonna fight me here. So some of them have them, some of them don't. This one has it. Still spring there. Put that in. Got the screws. I don't have a wrench, but I can get started. So the parking gear is the hard part. Let's see here. I'm gonna put it all the way. I don't know what that is, but put it in there. Boom. Just like that. That wasn't that bad. When I did the big block one behind this one, oh my gosh, I think I spent 15, 20 minutes fighting it. And it was driving me nuts. And I don't have, see, what's easy is if you have where the U-joint goes into in the back there, I don't know why I'm blanking on the name, but then you can like kind of shift it back and forth until it clicks in. I don't have one of those laying around, so I was just raw dogging it. All right, so time to put the spacer and filter on. Here's the little spacer, and there's a little kit, and it comes with some extended screws and this O-ring, which you just put the O-ring there, and then the transmission shift kit. It came with this little gasket here, so I'm gonna put that on top of the filter. Sorry, on top of the extender. And there's washers for those little screws, but I'm gonna put them on after I get this thing on, because it's kind of unwieldy on the stuff. So like this. Just like that. I don't know if you really need the washers, but peace of mind. All right. Snug them up. Well, the pan's on and torqued. Don't forget to tighten this up. On the comments on the Amazon listing, people were mentioning how it is not tight all the time. So double check that. Don't want to leak your brand new oil out, ATF out. Yeah, so this is done. I'm going to cure, drop it down, throw the torque converter in, and well, I guess I'll send it up into the wagon then. That'll be another video on its own. Stay tuned for that. Hey, and if you liked it, please subscribe, comment, like, whatever. I'm not trying to be pushy on that. All the support helps. I want to thank you guys for going through this long video. I'm going to try to get some shorter videos out here. But yeah, that's how to do a shift kit in a 727. Take everything with a grain of salt, and happy burnouts.